When faced with an unusual complaint, what rules should you apply?
What is sexual harassment?
Which form of harassment occurs most frequently?
According to the policies of the University of South Carolina, the laws of the state of South Carolina, and the United States of America, what classes are protected against discrimination?
How, when, and to whom should you report allegations of sexual harassment?
What are the differences between quid pro quo, hostile environment, and third-party harassment?
What are some of the negative effects of harassment in the workplace?
How can you prevent harassment in the workplace?
What constitutes a hostile learning or work environment?
Hello, and thank you for watching this video on sexual harassment. By the end of this video, you will know the answers to these and other questions related to the issue of sexual harassment. You will know how to identify, address, respond to, and prevent sexual harassment at the University of South Carolina. As a manager or supervisor, you will also be introduced to information and resources that are critical to the successful handling, addressing, and prevention of sexual harassment.
This online training opportunity is designed to equip managers and supervisors with information and strategies that can help address, eliminate, and prevent sexual harassment at the University of South Carolina. Sexual harassment occurs every day in businesses and educational institutions across America. It is not only illegal, but it is also disrespectful.
The University of South Carolina's motto is, "Learning humanizes character and does not permit it to be cruel." Here at the University of South Carolina, we believe that learning involves the development of individual intellect as well as personal character. We believe that character is one of the products of learning, and respect for others is one of the main indicators of character. We also believe that respect is a basic human right. It is one of the values of the University of South Carolina and the bare minimum of acceptable behavior that we expect of all members of this community. The University of South Carolina is committed to the principles of civility, mutual respect, and tolerance. We expect all members of this community to adhere to a very high standard of respectful behavior, not because the university requires it, but because learning shapes character, and character produces respect. Our students, faculty, staff, and vendors all deserve respect. Harassment is disrespect. It is behaving badly towards someone else. Harassment is not only a form of disrespect, it is also a violation of the University of South Carolina policies. More importantly, it is against the laws of the state of South Carolina and the United States of America.
What is the University of South Carolina's policy? Federal law, South Carolina state law, and the policies of the University of South Carolina prohibit employment and academic discrimination on the basis of the following protected class statuses: race, color, religion, sex, national origin, gender, age, disability, sexual orientation, genetics, or veteran status. Sexual harassment is a form of gender discrimination, and it contradicts the mission of the University of South Carolina. Our goal is to enhance the academic and professional growth and development of all our students, faculty, and staff. Sexual harassment, however, threatens the academic and professional careers, disrupts the educational experiences, and interferes with the emotional and physical well-being of the members of the university community. The University of South Carolina has a zero-tolerance policy for sexual harassment.
Who is covered by the policy? The University of South Carolina prohibits sexual harassment by and among all members of the university community, including faculty, staff, students, and vendors. It is prohibited between supervisors and subordinates, between instructors and students, between peers, or between any person or persons who do business with the university.
What about consensual relationships? The University of South Carolina prohibits consensual relationships among members of the university community in which one party exercises academic or administrative control over the other. These relationships are deemed unwise and are strongly discouraged. You may also want to be aware that it is not uncommon for sexual harassment allegations to be lodged in regard to relationships that were once consenting. In this instance, the burden may be on the alleged offender to prove that the university's sexual harassment policy has not been violated.
What is sexual harassment? Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 states, "It shall be an unlawful employment practice for any employer to discriminate against any individual with respect to his compensation, terms, conditions, or privileges of employment because of such an individual's race, color, religion, sex, or national origin." Sexual harassment is a form of discrimination based upon gender. It is the intimidation, bullying, or coercion of a sexual nature, or the unwelcome or inappropriate promise of employment or education rewards in exchange for sexual favor. Sexual harassment includes all the following: actual or attempted rape or sexual assault, unwanted pressure for sexual favors, unwanted deliberate touching, leaning over, cornering, or pinching, unwanted sexual looks or gestures, unwanted letters, telephone calls, or materials of a sexual nature, unwanted pressure for dates,
Unwanted sexual teasing, jokes, remarks, or questions, referring to an adult as a girl, hunk, doll, babe, or honey, whistling at someone, catcalls, sexual comments, turning work discussions into sexual topics, sexual innuendos or stories, asking about sexual fantasies, preferences, or personal history, personal questions about social or sexual life.
Sexual comments about a person's clothing, anatomy, or looks, kissing sounds, howling, and smacking lips, telling lies or spreading rumors about a person's personal sex life, neck massage, touching an employee's clothing, hair, or body, giving personal gifts, hanging around a person.
Hugging, kissing, patting, or stroking, touching or rubbing oneself sexually around another person, standing close or brushing up against a person, looking a person up and down, elevator eyes, staring at someone, sexually suggestive signals, facial expressions, winking, throwing kisses, or licking lips, making sexual gestures with hands or through body movements.
Sexual harassment comes in many forms. It can be verbal, written, physical, nonverbal, or visual. It can be done by anyone, including you.
It can occur between a man and woman, two men, two women, between you and your boss, you and your coworker, or you and a stranger.
There are two types of sexual harassment: quid pro quo and hostile environment.
Quid pro quo. Consider this example. A supervisor says to one of his employees, "Sleep with me and I'll see that you get that raise or promotion." This is quid pro quo sexual harassment. It occurs when an individual's submission to or rejection of sexual advances or conduct of a sexual nature is used, or threatened to be used, as the basis for employment or academic benefits. In this instance, two things are irrelevant when it comes to filing a complaint. The fact that the supervisor did not use physical force is not a defense. Whether the victimized employee has actually been denied a raise or promotion is also not a defense in most cases. All that is necessary is that the harassment was unwelcome, that it was based on sex, and that employment or academic benefit was conditioned for submission.
Hostile environment sexual harassment. In a hostile work environment, co-workers and/or supervisors create an atmosphere so permeated by unwelcome sexually oriented conduct that the employee's ability to perform is impaired or the employee's reasonable level of comfort on the job is affected. With this type of conduct, the harassment must be unwelcome, it must be sufficiently severe or pervasive to create an abusive environment, and the employer knew or reasonably should have known of the situation but took no prompt and remedial action to correct it. An employer can be liable for hostile environment sexual harassment even though the conduct complained of did not result in any adverse job consequences. Many of these cases utilize what is known as the reasonable person rule. A court or jury trying the case must first conclude that a reasonable person would find the environment hostile or abusive, and that the victim subjectively perceives the environment to be abusive.
What about indirect or bystander incidents? Sexual harassment can also occur when the behavior is not directed towards a specific individual, but is pervasive, severe, and persistent enough to interfere with employment status or academic status. Such behavior creates a hostile working or learning environment.
How can supervisors and managers prevent or address sexual harassment? Know the policy. All managers and supervisors must be aware of the University of South Carolina's sexual harassment policy and the procedures for filing complaints as outlined in the policy. The University of South Carolina's sexual harassment policy is EOP 1.02, and it can be found on the Office of Equal Opportunity Programs website at www.sc.edu/EOP. As a manager or a supervisor, you play an important role in helping eliminate, address, and prevent sexual harassment. Why? Do you know that the University of South Carolina can be found liable even if it is not aware that sexual harassment is occurring? The courts have found that not having a written policy is the same as not taking reasonable steps toward being aware that sexual harassment is taking place. So the first thing you need to do as a manager or supervisor is to familiarize yourself with the university's sexual harassment policy.
Notify the proper university officials. As an employee at the University of South Carolina, please never ignore, tolerate, laugh off, or disregard sexual harassment. Harassers will continue to bother their victims as long as they think they can get away with it. The average person who is harassed only wants the behavior to stop. Make sure they are aware of the university's policy. Visit the Office of Equal Opportunity Programs website and view the university's sexual harassment policy. Your department may also arrange for a live sexual harassment course through the Office of Equal Opportunity Programs. By all means, make sure you know you have a right to file a complaint with the Office of Equal Opportunity Programs.
If an instance of sexual harassment occurs within your department, you have an institutional mandate to report the incident to the Office of Equal Opportunity Programs. If you elect to personally address an incident that is not very serious, but one that still borders on sexual harassment, please be aware that you should do the following. Contact the Office of Equal Opportunity Programs for assistance on how to address the situation. Follow up with the employee who is harassed to ensure that the harassment has stopped. Follow up with the harasser to ensure they understand the seriousness of the issues and they have stopped the behavior. Document by sending separate emails to each summarizing your conversation. Create a paper trail by documenting the incident in your personal files. Finally, report the incident to the Office of Equal Opportunity Programs.
Maintain confidentiality. It is very important that you let employees know that confidentiality will be maintained to the greatest extent possible. It is equally important that you remind them, however, that at certain points in the investigation, it may be necessary to provide information that will identify them. How to file a complaint. There are several ways to file a complaint. As manager, it is your responsibility to ensure the incident is reported to the Office of Equal Opportunity Programs. Some incidents can be handled in the individual department, depending on the severity. A single offer for a date that is rejected and found offensive, but is reported to the supervisor, may be handled at the lowest level. However, make sure you document the incident and follow up with the individual who reported to you. Inappropriate touching, on the other hand, should not be handled in the department, but reported to the Office of Equal Opportunity Programs. You may inform the employee of his or her right to report the incident. However, any violation of the university's sexual harassment policy may be reported to the Office of Equal Opportunity Programs.
Protection from retaliation. Once a complaint has been filed, the University of South Carolina protects both employees involved in the incident from instances of retaliation. As a supervisor or manager, you should not engage in retaliatory behavior towards either of the individuals. You should also ensure that no one else retaliates against them. The University of South Carolina has zero tolerance for retaliation.
Thank you for viewing this video. We hope that it has been a productive use of your time.
Please remember that in order to receive credit for taking this course, you must complete the accompanying mandatory quiz.
And finally, please contact the Office of Equal Opportunity Programs if you have any questions or if you would like to schedule a live training on this and other issues related to discrimination or harassment at the University of South Carolina.
Goodbye, and remember, you play a critical role in ensuring that the University of South Carolina is a safe and enjoyable place to work.